Cause I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
hey, somebody needs to mute their mic. I got TV or something going on back there. But anyway, hey, welcome back. Welcome back. We're here for part 2 of the Ready to Love reunion, Detroit style. How's everybody doing on my panel? How's everybody?
Yeah, so far so good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. And Ryan, last but not least.
Doing fine over here.
Good. Yeah. Welcome in, everybody. We know this is not only Super Bowl Sunday, but this is also the beginning of my birthday month. So feel free. My Cash App is up there, guys. Feel free. But what did you guys think of this second part 2 of the reunion? What did you guys think of it? Mr. Jaguar, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was a pretty decent conclusion. I think just like the first part of it, the reunion itself was a lot better than the actual show. So I got a lot of information from it.
Okay, good. Very good. I like that, short and sweet. JR?
I thought that this one was very petty, very messy. A lot of the drama was saved for this particular moment, and it seems like a lot of scores were trying to be settled on this episode. So yeah, it was entertaining, I guess, but a lot of crashing out.
Quit ruffling those bags of potato chips you got back there, JR. I hear you.
Not potato chips.
Whatever. Okay, then plantain chips. Then whatever. Okay, Ron, what's going on? How'd you feel about the reunion part 2?
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining, but it did get a little catty. And I agree with JR. We were wondering like where was the super drama during the regular season, and it kind of saved it all to let it all out for the reunion on both parts. So,
and will we say it seems to me like Nicole and to a smaller degree Lauren, kind of their names or their comments came up a lot in this drama that we had, this part 1 and part 2 of the reunion. What are your thoughts, JR?
Yeah, like I noticed Lauren's name came up in every single connection that was made at the end. Like so Darius and Ashley connection, her name was there. Her name was called. Bello and Dominique, her name was featured prominently. And then Vince and Donna, her name came up there too. So all of the 3 connections that actually made it, Lauren was there. She didn't have any she didn't have no skin in the game with any of those guys in particular. So I wonder if it was just trolling on her part, just to try and ruffle some feathers, cause some dysfunction in some of the connections. But she didn't endear herself to any of them guys, and she weren't feeling them. I think she just wanted the attention from at least one of them, and it didn't really pan out.
Yeah, it felt kind of like that. It really did. It felt kind of like that. And Lauren, we're gonna get to that in a minute, but Lauren wants everybody to keep her name out their mouth because her name is Bennett and she wasn't in it. Wow. Hey there, Miss Iffy, El Cid, Colton, and Shayna. Oh my God, Nicole was so messy on this whole reunion. She was number one pick me girl of 2026. Ryan, what do you think of that? You said you kind of like you a little pick Misha.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pick me. I always say the pick me's end up winning at the end, and the winners. I mean, in her being a pick me, I think she won on this. Look at all the reunion time she got from one of being like the second or third girl eliminated. She got more camera time than everybody. Got a chance to say all her pieces on all the guys because she actually really seriously tried to date all the guys at the same time.
It
But
seems like it, yeah. And even after the show was over, like I don't necessarily understand. Maybe you can explain a little better. Why do you guys date each other after the show is over? Like, is that a thing, or is that just a Detroit season?
no, I don't think anybody is really dating each other after the show is over, except Vince
Nicole,
and Nicole. I think Vince and Nicole will end up being our next married, ready to love couple.
get
I'm
out of
calling it
here.
out right here. And here's why. This is what you don't understand.
Ooh, let me write this down. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Nicole's gonna give Vince something that these other girls weren't willing to give the other guys, and
What's
that's time. She's gonna
that?
play her part and be around. You know, Vince feeling like the man right now. That's why he tried to take the girl off the. He doing all this thinking he the man. We know Vince ain't the man, so that's gonna dispute and whatever like that, and it's gonna come back to reality. Why it's coming back to reality and why he's still doing that, Nicole's still gonna be there. She's still gonna be a situationship. She's still gonna be by his side. She's gonna let him make every mistake in the world. She still ain't going nowhere. And by the time Vince realized, dang, a year from now, I'm not the man. He's already older. He's already very routine in his workout and what he does every day. Nicole's still gonna be there. They still gonna be spent all that time. And then he's gonna realize, dang, it gets very cold in the D in the winter. Ooh, it gets cold. And I got a nice little pick me. Should have been here for a year, been down and stuff. And then we know each other now. I'm done with all the other stuff. I need to lock this one down. And that's when you get her everything that she wanted and marry her and all that type of good stuff. It happens all the time. The pick me's win at the end because she's going to give him the time to make all the mistakes, all the stuff like that, and she's still going to be around. Last woman standing, and he's going to end up picking her up for the long haul. I've seen it time and time again. Mark my words on it. That couple's going to last.
Well, the ladies out here and myself are disagreeing with you strongly. Miss Iffy says she agrees with Ron. Yeah, she'll be a side chick, but he ain't gonna marry her, never. And Shayna says they're definitely not getting married. And I'm just like, nah,
Who else is gonna be when it gets cold? When that
He don't
13
need
degrees come
nobody.
down there in a February next year, and and Vince ain't the type of person that's gonna be going out trying to date and do too much
No,
stuff.
he don't
He
look
gonna
like
get very comfortable with the good treatment of Miss Pick Me Nicole, and he's gonna be like, man, I better lock this down before somebody else do. It happens all the time. He's the perfect
okay.
prototype for this. No, another man would be like, nah, man, you could be the side chick, but I'm a bitch. You gonna go find what I want to find. And you're right. It's guys like that. Vince ain't one of them. He's
Oh, okay.
acting like it
He don't
now,
like
but
right. He don't like being cold
once
like
he
that
gets
though. He is
comfortable,
old
he gonna
reason.
park his ass, and he gonna get comfortable within a year because she's not going nowhere. He gonna make every mistake. He gonna do this. He gonna do that. He gonna try to date some more castmates and stuff. Fail with that. She's still gonna be around. And
Okay,
like I
you heard it
said,
here first. You heard it here first. Ryan Freeman is predicting a marriage out of this Detroit cast. He's predicting a marriage. Okay, you heard it here first. So, wow, that is deep. That is deep. Well, we'll go ahead and get started with these two because, of course, we open up with where we left off from part one of the reunion, and that is basically where Dom is tearing Bello a new one. Like she's trying real hard. Like she letting them have it. Like you should not have met my family, my parents. You should not have met my children, and so forth and so on. And she's very disappointed in him. Very disappointed. She claims that Bello had blocked a woman from her social media page and her phone, and he says that she's lying, but she says no, my discernment is on point, and there must be something going on. I think she's your girlfriend. And then she also tells us that Bello asked her brother to help him get a developer's loan. We know that he is a developer. He's into real estate. He's supposed to be building these very great, beautiful homes over in Windsor. But her brother is going to be helping him get a developer's loan. What do you say to that, JR?
Yeah, Dominique was trying her hardest to be messy and air out their business. She scorned and hurt because she got dumped a few days before Christmas Eve. It just wasn't going to work, and both of them had enough warning signs to know that it wasn't going to work. They are not aligned on anything. It was purely a lust or physical connection. But in the real world, different faith, different beliefs, different expectations. Dominique, obviously coming from a marriage, 20-year marriage to Vishawn Leonard, former NBA player, having 3 grown children.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't going to be able to give Bello what he's looking for, which is a child first and foremost. And he's intimated that that child is going to be raised in the Muslim faith.
Right.
If he had it, she can't conceive anyway. So she's talking about surrogacy and all these other different things that doesn't align with
Okay, let me just stop.
what they're talking about.
I hate to interrupt, but let me just say this, because she will be on this. She will be in the comments so fast. As now, she already told us she can conceive. Now, like you said, she has 3 grown children that she's given birth to, right?
Mhm.
She mentioned that she had 2 miscarriages, which is different from a woman not being able to conceive, just to clarify. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so all of that trauma from disclosing the miscarriage and all of that, you can see she's still affected by that. So it wouldn't be a good idea to risk it at her age at the time of filming. And she's obviously older than that now. So with 2 miscarriages, 3 grown children, it probably wouldn't be a wise risk for her to try and do that. So that's why it looks probably unlikely that Bello's going to get what he wanted out of the relationship. What she was looking for was a man to give her the lifestyle that she's accustomed to, like keep it up or do better. Like I said, living off a former NBA player's salary is a lot different to someone who's in real estate. I think when it comes to the financial situation, she said that his finances are in disarray. I spoke to Bello last night, so I managed to have quite an extensive conversation with him. And he did get grilled by some of the other panelists that I was on with, but I spoke to him. So what he said is, he's in real estate. There's a lot of money tied up in projects and assets, as in the buildings, the properties, the land, but liquid cash isn't as much, right?
Right.
So
makes sense.
Right. So when his defense was, well, look, how can you say that I'm in my finances are disarray? There's not one time you've had to come out your pocket, and we've been on like 20, 30 dinner dates, and I'm paying like $600 a time. He may have exaggerated on the $600. I don't know, but still,
yeah.
He's.
I think he did that one time, and now he wants to try to claim the other 20.
No, he's done it multiple times. But the problem is, he was taking her and the kids out too. Like, it was a family thing. It wasn't like it was just him and her. It was like spending $600. It was for 5 people or whatever. So he's paying the bill and he's getting to know her family and whatnot. But they're just not aligned. Her father had an issue with him being of the Islamic faith.
Yeah.
And the father didn't find that out until the day of their meeting. So that's why the father had a particular issue, because he'd been hearing about this guy dating his daughter, but he didn't know that there was a misalignment. And the father was obviously a pastor, so he's very much into the Christian faith or whatever, and doesn't believe his daughter should be with anyone outside of that faith. So the father caused some contention. The lifestyle expectations weren't aligned, and ultimately Bello was investing in something where he wasn't going to get anything what he wanted back out of it. So unfortunately, he decided to end it. And with it coming up to Christmas, it was obviously a sore spot because Christmas is family time. But he
Yes.
doesn't observe Christmas. He's not Christian. So he may recognize it on the calendar and see, know the significance of it for a Christian, but he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
celebrate it himself. So to him, it's a normal day. To her, it's a family time, family celebration. So I can see why she was a bit hurt by the timing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I can also see why he would be like, well, listen, he doesn't celebrate Christian events like that. So yeah, they just weren't aligned. So it's a very messy breakup, and she was very hurt and
Okay.
tried to dish a lot of dirt. And
I have.
he tried his best to get out of it and get a word in edgeways, but he ultimately he had to let her get her stuff off for the
Yeah.
camera.
Well, he got in there. He got in there. Tommy did make sure. And look at Tommy. He getting a headache from all of this
Yeah,
arguing.
now
Just a little-
he protected her quite a bit. A lot of the stuff he told me last night, he didn't actually say on the show. He wasn't trying to he wasn't trying to combat her.
No,
Um,
no, he wasn't being
but,
combative like Vince.
yeah.
Thank God it wasn't
There was a
Vince because
level
he'd
of
been there all
there
night
was a
long.
level of grace and protection so that he didn't throw her under the bus.
Hmm. Well, but now let's see, and I'm gonna go over to Mr. Thank you for that, Jr. I'm gonna go over to Mr. Jaguar. I feel like though too, you know, he knew this. Bello knew about. She was clear. She said on camera. We saw her say that she had had the 2 miscarriages. To go back to what you were saying, Jr. So, Mr. Jaguar, what do you think about Bello's counter points about the dinners and the $600? Do you believe that he was spending $600 every time he took her to dinner? And was that what broke them up, or was it more so her having some issues with childbearing and having previous miscarriages, and he just wasn't feeling like he was ready to deal with that? What do you think, Mr. Jaguar?
Well, I remember when you asked at the end of the show what the predictions were for couples. I remember I told you and everybody else who is listening that I think they would make it to the end, but at the
Mm-hmm.
reunion they will be broken up. And the reason they'll be broken up will be two things: it'll be children and religion. Now, in terms of the actual finances, Dominique did make a post where she was basically laughing at Bello, saying it was never $600. The most it was ever was 400. So she doesn't know why he's whining and complaining about it if he has money like that. Blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, but as I said initially, there are two. It takes two to tango. But I'm just saying, as a woman, if you're talking about accountability, it can't just be on the man's side because Bella was upfront with saying, I need a son. And he didn't mean by adoption, he didn't mean by surrogacy. He meant natural means. So if you know, as you're 42, at least that's what the cast bio says, she's 42, and you
Mm-hmm.
had these 2 miscarriages, I think it would have been prudent for her to say, I think you're a nice guy, but I don't think I can give you what you want. I'm not the woman for you, and walk away. And the outcome, I mean, proof is in the pudding. He is happily married, and from what JR tells us, he was married at the time of the union. So he was happily married, and she was on the couch crashing out, throwing tantrums like a 2-year-old. So she could have avoided all of that because it's not like he was sneaky, he wasn't deceptive, anything like that. He was upfront. This is what I want. She can give that. But it was clear that she was probably giving, sex was probably taking place, and I don't think he was going to turn that down. But in the end, it wouldn't have ended up being anything long lasting. Additionally, for the religion thing, I didn't think she did either side any favors by waiting until the actual date to tell her father, who is a pastor, that he is a Muslim. That's something that should have been said early on and prep both sides. Hey, my dad's a pastor. Hey, the guy I'm
Mm-hmm.
dating is a Muslim. So that by the
Yes.
time they get there, because I think the shock of it hitting
Mm-hmm.
her right as he's walking up, oh by the way, he's a Muslim, and sit down, that was very deceptive on
Right.
her part. That wasn't mature, it wasn't handled with any grace or tact. So
You you
I think
correct in that, I think. Mm-hmm.
I will say it takes two to tango, but I put more blame on her. If the person said this is what I want, you can't give that to them, just walk away. That's just my take on that.
Okay, Ryan, did we get you in here? Come on, Ryan. What's your thoughts about all of this?
Okay, I'm about to break it down. This is going. Yeah, yeah,
Let's
really, you
hear
gotta
what
really
folks
listen because
here
this is upper level thinking, and I'm taking some facts from both of the sides that I've heard from both of them
Okay.
on some things. First, I want to start off by saying where Bella was wrong on these two things. One is from my favorite movie, Jerry Maguire. We all seen the movie, and in the movie Jerry Maguire, uh,
Hmm.
the black man tells Tom Cruise, he said, "A real man wins shoplift the putty from a single mother." That's the line. And Bello, to you sure what was going on? You shoplift the putty from a single mother. Like you shouldn't have had sex with her. Just that's just it.
Okay. 'Cause it went right over my head. Like, what is
That's
the? Oh,
that was the line on it. Like
okay.
that's what they called it on the show. I mean that movie was a couple
Yeah,
decades old. But yeah, he told Tom Cruise that real man wins. I was raised by a single mother. A real man wins shoplift the putty from a single mother. He shoplift the putty.
yeah. Mm-mm.
Second off, you don't meet the kids either. You know what I mean? You were moving that a little too far because I don't. It's
Even if the
hard for
kids are grown, even if the kids are grown,
it's
Ryan.
hard for me to believe that Bella wasn't in a relationship during the whole season of the show, and it's a reason why because I know the timeline. I know that we filmed the show, and you'll be shocked at how quick the show comes out as soon as we get done filming. It's about a week and a half, or not even a week and a half. As soon as we done filming that last little episode, the show's about to air. And then we come, then like episode 4 that you're seeing, and we're all seeing together on the TV screen, we go film the reunion.
Hmm.
That's a month. You got married in a month after walking to the bridge with Dom. Like, was it an arranged marriage? Like, how did that is impossible. Just like you couldn't have gone on 30 dates within that time period. You were counting the show dates because there was probably about 10 dinner dates on the show that they didn't even air that you get that they went on, but the show paid for those.
Yeah,
So
but what about someone saying here? Oh, well, it is saying Philly aired before Detroit, so it's been a year. Like, so when you filmed, you are early on in the whole franchise. You were at one of the groups is at the very beginning, but now that the show is rolling, it feels like they're filming and they're putting it in the can, they're moving on to the next city, and then they're airing it maybe a little bit later than when initially when your show aired.
they
Could
might
that
have
be possible?
they might have done Philly and waited on the and because they were filming them simultaneously before because the cities were so close. Philly and
Right.
Detroit is further, so
Oh
they
yeah.
had to wait to film Philly, then move on to Detroit. It wasn't filming at the same time Philly was playing,
Right.
and then Hill. So the timing is still the same because it's only one film crew, so they gotta get hit.
Hmm.
They could hit. We had 2 seasons. We were doing seasons back to back before. So yeah, when they're in Houston already, they can be filming our season while they're playing the resort season, right?
Hmm.
Or in Dallas. When you just got Philly and they don't have a backup season there, you got to film all of Philly, and then you got to move to Detroit to film. That's where the pause period comes through. So yeah, that takes about 6 month period because you got to move all the camera crew to a different city, set up, and then film that city. But I think the regular part's the same. Once we film the show, they got it. They put that thing on the air, and then you come back like episode 3 or 4 to go while it's playing to go film the reunion because we don't even see the rest of the episode. They show us a snippet of what's ahead, so we'll know some more information before going into the reunion and filming it. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. Okay.
Uh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't that much time to go on 30 dates and then find a fiance unless you had some stuff already started there. And
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I believe from the get go when I heard that he was possibly married, and now it's being confirmed that he definitely is married. I knew that it was somebody that he had been dating, been betrothed to long before this show. I automatically knew that because he's African as
yeah,
part of it. I hate the stereotype, but oftentimes we know that sometimes they have arranged marriages, particularly Nigerians. So I'm not
yeah, and, and,
surprised.
and I think it was a situation like that. Um, Now the dinner thing, she says it's 400. He says it's 600. I'm thinking the bill came to like 430.
Yeah.
You add $80 gratuity to that, which it is. So it probably came around 530, which in black males We see a $530 bill, we automatically say 600. So
Yeah.
so
Okay. But here's the thing. Okay, so good point on that. You got to add gratuity. I've forgotten about that, but good point. But I mean, my point is, I don't think they're going on all these dates, and all three of the daughters are going with them. Like, aren't they going on dates that they're dating and they've just
no.
gotten to know each other from the show?
This is just
Have
one date. This is just one date.
Right. No.
And-
But wait. Hold on, Ron. But understand what I'm saying. When they went behind the scenes, when we see them backstage, he is telling the fellas, well, I spent $600 for her and her three daughters and myself. But what I'm saying to you is, he's also saying that he went on 20 to 30 dinners with her. I don't believe that the three girls, came with them on every dinner.
No.
That doesn't
No,
make
on the
sense.
20 and 30 dinners, he was counting.
exaggerating.
He was counting dinners that the show paid for too. He was like,
Good
well,
Lord.
he was like, we already been on 15 dinner dates. She didn't come because all he's just thinking is she didn't come out of pocket, but he didn't come out of pocket a lot of them dates either. The show did. But here's the thing: and you got to understand this from Bella's standpoint. He's a single man. He's never took out a family of 4. You get sticker shock as a single man when you see a $600 bill come by because you're like, I've treated myself very well every time I come out. I've never spent more than $120 at dinner. She already said she wants going to the spot for the ambiance. It was an ambiance spot, probably a vibe dining spot in Detroit. Those spots get more expensive sometimes than fine dining because you're paying for the ambiance, and they're newer spots, and they hit you on the back end with a bunch of stuff. So he's looking at it as, man, I got sticker shock. I'm looking at it because her husband is used to paying for a family of 4 or 5 when they go out. He already knows in his head it's gonna be $500, $600. He goes in there, it does. It's a big deal. And then because you don't have the money sometimes you're not used to paying a certain amount of money for certain things. That's why I used to pay $7 for a drink. Now it's $20 for a drink. I didn't know because it gets inch you up dollar by dollar. They didn't go from 7 to 20. Everybody would stop drinking. You know what I mean? It was
right. It goes little by little. You're right.
Yeah,
to get you. Somebody about my $10 drink back in the day, and that drink now is probably about $20, $22. I would never buy it now because I don't go out like that. Like what?
Yeah, they inch you up so you get used to it. He wasn't used to that. He never took out a family of 4. He's just by himself. He had a 1-year-old is 700 miles away. You know what I mean? He's used to dealing with himself. I would have got sticker shocked on that. Like, what the heck is this? And then he says he goes in the bathroom and he contemplates about the bill for an hour. and then she said, and this is what I don't agree. She's like, well, I was about to pay it because he was in there for an hour contemplating the bill. And I was like, well, you didn't pay it. I don't care if he left y'all there for 3 hours, went to go DoorDash for 2 hours to get the money and come back. He still paid the bill. You didn't pay anything. I hate when women pump fake like that. I was going to pay the bill. No, you don't want to pay that $600 bill either.
No.
You pump faking. I don't want to hear it. He deserves all the props because at the end of the day, he still paid that bill for you and your family. You brought 4 people to the meeting. He brought 1 and he still paid that bill. So don't pump fake and call him broke and everything like that. When you was talking about I coulda, woulda, shoulda, and didn't.
Ungrateful and very salty.
You know what? Don't get me started, JR. Don't get me started. But wait a minute. What did you guys?
Here's what a $600 does to a single man like that. It makes you very clear now. You start getting clearer thinking. So after he's getting hit with this, and you ain't even getting $600, and they're grateful for it because they're used to doing this. So they're looking at you like you just took them to McDonald's. And where we going next time and stuff. And he's looking like, what in the world's going on? Because to him, men date in a range. So Dominique, looks-wise, is in the range of what Bello dates. 7, 8, where you want to put a number on it, wherever it is. No matter who he dates, she's going to look within that range. That's what he's used to. So he's not looking at it as I'm with Dominique the queen. You know what I mean? Like he's looking at it as, this is just who I date. And he's like, man, I could have took a girl out that looks similar to Dominique, and I could have took her kids to Chipotle, and they would have been happy.
I love Chipotle. I'm
sorry. You know what I mean? They really would have. They would have been, oh, thank you for the dinner. You know what I mean? It took me our friends out. These people ain't even blinked at him. And he didn't spend $600. And then you start thinking about what else you could have spent the money on. $600 is a plane ticket to Brazil. $600 is this and that. Plus, in his situation, Dominique has to understand his situation. He's not a track boy. You got a businessman. Bello shouldn't even be dating. He really should be living in his mama's basement eating ramen noodles because he got to save all his money up to pour into his business. You don't get those. That's how business works. Women think this lifestyle thing just continues. No, you're with a man in business. Sometimes he has to buckle up in order to make investments in order to take y'all to the next level. And when and every billionaire has done that, from Jeff Bezos to Mark. All of them. They had to bootstrap their business. So if he's saying, "Yo, baby, I'm in bootstrap zone," you don't hit him with no $600, dinner. You got to understand what his situation is. So now he's looking at it as in, okay, she don't really care about what my situation is going on. I could have got this done a lot cheaper from different from another situation. What am I really getting out of this? The religion ain't matching. I can't even get a kid out this in the future. and he starts thinking, and the expectations become greater than the man. Mm-hmm. And that's when it happens. And that's when you get a guy who's been in your bed on Tuesday and leaves you on Thursdays because he can't take it anymore.
You're wrong for this. But listen, I think there are some good points. You got some points, Ryan. Because here's what I'm thinking as a woman. Wait, hold on. This is what I'm thinking. Why all the dates? Because she says clearly in this reunion, she says that she never met his parents. Okay, so why not less dates and less pressure down, more emphasis on meeting the parents? Because for me, who has dated Nigerian men before in the past, if you're not meeting their parents, we already know that's not going to go down. He's not going to marry you. He has to get his parents' approval. So less dinner dates and more emphasis on the real stuff. If she wanted a husband, and I think she said at the beginning of this season that she did want a husband, she wanted to be married again, then she should have been focused on the stuff that really matters. What do you say to that, Ron?
Bello got sucked in by the show. And I hate to give you all the tea or whatever like that, but this is how it really goes down. Production has their favorites when it comes to the women. And their favorite is usually predecessor to the audience. So if you're a woman and you a little thicker and you a little ratchet and you got 3 kids and your ex-husband cheated on you and you overcame them and you strong black woman and you raised your kids up and you go to church, you are who production thinks is the audience favorite. And you got a little style to you and swag and your wig always on point and your clothes always pressed and your shoes spot. And they make it very obvious on the set. Oh, that's that girl. Oh yeah, she gonna be the one. All the audience gonna like her. They're loud about it. So that girl, it was Dom. Dom has the story. She raised three kids, girls, to become successful after the mean old NBA player cheated and left, and she had to pull herself up her bootstraps and get her people there, and she's still doing it while looking fly and looking smooth, and she 40 and she want a man. You know what I mean? Everything that the audience who's watching this on a Friday night at 8:00 every weekend can relate to.
Yeah,
so and they're making it very obvious on the show. So Bello, we hear this as men on the show. So he's like, yo, that's the it girl. If I'm gonna look good for my brand, I gotta get with her. And they're propping her up every day. Ooh, see she walk in. Ooh, Don, what you wearing today? Ooh, girl, you killing him. And he's hearing this. He's like, okay, I gotta get with the it girl. And even Don, and it goes both ways. Don looking at him like, okay, this is the guy who got it put together and he's talking smooth. This is the it guy on there. So for me to look good, I can't be hooked up with Devon. I'm gonna look like like me. Like, what am I doing? I gotta get Bello. So they have a show advised into that, and it happened to me. Like when I first got on the thing and I met Alexis Fly, I was the least attracted to her out of all the 10 girls that was on my season. The least. I didn't even know she existed. I was not attracted to that girl whatsoever. She had two things going for her. One, she knew my best friend. They went to college together. He vouched for her. Second of all, production liked her. She was the church girl. She was wearing them weird outfits. They were boosting up for some reason. And wig and makeup was always done. I never seen her without her makeup on. Like, you know what I mean? Like she was already on there. So when it got to me having to choose between Chrysanthemum and her, production was kind of like, we're not pairing you with no chrysanthemum. Why would we compare you with a pretty light-skinned woman that's 39 with no kids that likes to go out and chill and party? And our audience don't relate to her. Our audience relates to this pastor's wife who got cheated on and slept on the church floor and now raising a son by herself, strong and this and that, and she dresses well and still has a sweat. That's the story. Y'all two, you and Cassandra don't got no storyline. Superficial shit. We're not putting that on TV.
Production always wins, don't they?
Oh yeah, so it's it gets real with that. You understand that while you're on the method. So everybody's like, why would Bello, knowing all this stuff, why would he still go hard for Dom? Because he had to for the show, and he's looking at her in a higher light because production was looking at her in a higher light. Now he thinking, okay, even after the show, I got to still show her I'm that guy that I pretended to be on the show, so I got to go take her family out to dinner, not knowing it's gonna hit him for 600. In reality, hits in. He goes, man, I can't keep doing this. Show over. I gotta end this.
I gotta wrap this up. Yeah, but I mean, but Ron, you gotta be, like you said, you gotta be fair. You gotta know that he had a strong inkling when she told him about the 2 miscarriages that she had, and she cried on his shoulders about that. And also when her father said that he did not like the fact that this guy is Muslim.
I'll tell you, none of that would have mattered. Those are, like these people said in the comments, those both were excuses. It didn't matter. She has expectations that he can't. It's not worth it to him to be taking her out to these dinners and things of that nature. He can get a woman that looks just as good with 1/3 of the expectations that she's giving out. So he's gonna rather do that. He used her for the show because she was the it girl. She used him for the show because he was the handsome dress guy, and he wanted to end where that ended, and that's just how it works sometimes. And he understands that who Dom really is outside the show. She's the queen on the set. Off the set, he's like, yo, it's not a line of dudes that's just on bending knee, ready to marry you because I'm out with you all the time. I would know. I would have to pick. I'm not tired by moving guys out the way. They're in here to deal with these type of expectations every day and $600 meals and to marry a woman that's 43, 44. It ain't that. So she's eventually gonna have to, change some of them expectations as is, or she's gonna get a man that was married like she was for 20 years and very successful and out of a marriage who's used to dealing with, family of 3 and spending a lot and things of nature and taking care of a household like that with a lifestyle to it. But those guys, if they're out of a 20-year marriage, they don't want to get back into another 20-year-old marriage. Them men now want to be single for a little bit. And she's going to be in a situation where she's going to have to figure it out because, like I said, Bello's like, I'm a businessman. I'm not a trap boy. I'm not an NBA player. My money don't come fast. It doesn't spend fast either. And like I said, I'm not spending, $600 at the dinner to me feels crazy. For her, it seems like it's a walk in the park. But he's like, I'm not the person that spends it all. And women gotta understand spending habits on guys and things of this nature. You got to be realistic with that stuff. Them dope boys, oh yeah, $600 dinner, nothing here. But they run out. Bello's trying to keep longevity money. It's different, and you can't spend it like that.
Okay.
And yeah, they woke him up.
Wow. I think what's interesting to me though too was Dom kind of got down a little bit on his mom, and I guess it was really more so meant for a dig for Bello when she said, is your mom dating her? Are you dating this other lady? And that type of thing, because your mom clearly likes her. But again, missing the whole concept of culture, of his Nigerian culture. It's important that your parents, I know a lot of Americans some of them don't care whether their parents meet their intended, who they're going to marry. Doesn't matter what the parents say. Dom said it herself. She said, well, I'm a grown woman on the finale, and I'm going to pick who I pick regardless of what my father thinks. But,
Yeah, that was fine in their culture. In Nigerian culture, if you're an American woman, you're not going to meet the father until the very end. My best friend married, I told you we married that lady. She didn't meet the father until they were already engaged. The first time meeting him.
Okay. But
that's just kind of how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: the Nigerian woman, I don't know if the new wife is Nigerian or not, but she's understands the whole situation. She's not gonna ask for like she's really they married generation. We don't do that in the black culture. So she's really married to the father, to his
Mm.
father, who his father is. That's
Okay.
like that's kind of how it is in the white culture. Like when my coworker and stuff, he's very good looking white guy, and his wife is big and not very attractive. And when I saw the wife, I was like, "How is this making any sense?" Like,
You know what, Ron?
no, I was, and he was
Shut
like,
your
"Yo,"
mouth. But
he was
she's
like, "In our culture, like you guys are not used to it because you guys don't get it a lot of inheritance and stuff like that as Black Americans." He's like, "But in our culture, we don't date the woman; we date the woman's father." Her
mm,
father owns 900 factories.
that's what I was just
When he
about to
dies, we're set for life. I'm quitting this job. You can have get my feet up.
say.
So, so
Lord.
they married the generation above you, not you. In some of these other cultures and stuff like that, Black people we don't have generational wealth, so we got to marry what's in front of us. We got to pay for our own wedding and all that times and all kind of stuff.
Well, okay, so we're gonna continue on. So uncle, nephew, cousin, my cousin Tommy asked Lauren, what does she think about this? Because they were going back and forth, and I think he had to find a way to cut the confusion and the debates and whatnot. So he asked Lauren, and Lauren says, "Well, I didn't know it was going to turn into this, but I love love." And then he turns to Devon and he says, "Devon, what do you think?" Devon, wait a minute, hold on. And Devon says, "Well, I was rooting for her. I was rooting for Dominique, which is interesting considering, the situation and that Bello stole Dom from Devon basically." uh, he says that he was rooting for her and he was happy to see that she had found somebody that was for her. And then he asked Cardi, and Cardi says, "Well, I always root for Black love." And he said that he was rooting for them too. And then we go to break. So everybody is basically saying the same thing. They were rooting for love, but what became of this love wasn't love after all. It was more like I don't know. I guess it was more like a physical attraction that Dom and Bello had for one another. That's the way it feels anyway. Anybody any
He
comment?
was in love with the guy he portrayed to be for the show,
Okay. She was in love with what he portrayed himself to be. Okay, that makes sense. That makes
and
sense
he was
because
in love with who she was on the show.
on the show. Okay.
Yeah, because production had her as the queen, and after the show, you don't have neither of those aspects to save you anymore.
Okay. So you better really know who it is you're falling for.
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, so we move on. From there, we've got Devon, and Devon, he's we're not sure about Devon. He liked a lot of the ladies, uh, but was he playing with the ladies? We talked about his almost kiss with Dom, and he says, he doesn't have any regrets about that. We talked about how he kind of spent some time with Nicole after the show. And Nicole is very upset. She basically is letting him know, well, you're an all lives matter person. You are this and you are that. You Who did you vote for in the elections? Did you vote for Kamala or not? And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm kind of thinking this is not good that she's airing him out like this. That if he told her this in confidence, why are we coming on the reunion and you're airing this man out like this? Like, you two are both professionals. What do you think, Mr. Jaguar?
Well, to be honest, as I said, I think Nicole's a little bit unhinged. I think she's just lashing out at everyone. She's basically the new Rose for me. Because at the reunion, she was just all over the place with everybody. I don't see how, at this point of the show, where the season has concluded and you're on the reunion, what does politics have to do with anything? It's neither here nor there. I really couldn't care if he's a Republican or Democrat. I don't know why that matters right now. It just sounds like she's just trying to take a dig at him to say, look at him, he's all lives matter, and everybody's like, what? I just have to say, hurt people, and it just sounds like she is just off the rails. And I think that's why Ed stayed very far from her and never tried to get with her from since back in college. She just it wasn't a good look for her from what I see. This is just my opinion.
Right. He did,
You know,
and you're right. He did say that she seemed unhinged because at one point he had sent her maybe two texts in just one day, and she texted him back about, don't do this. You're stalking me. I don't want all these texts. Would you stop? And I'm thinking, like, what is two texts? Like, what's the big deal? I mean, like, did he text her like a book or something? Is that what she's saying? What do you think?
I have no idea. I just think to me it just sounds like he was cool with her,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the fact that she, because as I was saying from way before, I think initially before we saw all this, I thought the two she she seemed to be she seemed to have the best of intentions when she got on the show. But I
Okay.
think when she saw Ed and she got the nostalgia of, I know this guy from college or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
she got she got she got sidetracked, and I think that hurt her on the actual season itself because she had tunnel vision for Ed. And anybody else who could have been a problem match, I guess Devon probably could have worked out for her. All of that stuff went by the wayside, and I think
Mm.
it just fell apart after that. And I think right now she's just in scorched earth mode where she's just lashing out at everybody, and
Scorched earth.
just you do this and you did this and this one said this, and I mean it doesn't. And again, if that is the case, this is another instance of somebody saying something that was told to them in confidence, which is not a good look for anybody. It means anybody who's thinking of having her as a partner
Hmm.
can't rely on her confidence. The fact that she will spill her mouth just for the just to make a dig or an attack, or just to spill the
Hmm.
tea or to say this or something flashy and get points. It was not a good look at all. She didn't redeem herself from part one of this reunion when she was on the knees with Vince. She just got worse as far as I could see.
Mm.
Yeah. And sounds like you got something to say about this, JR. What's your thoughts?
No, I agree with Mr. Jaguar, man. Like she was definitely unhinged. She was this season's Rose. Dominique started off hot, but um, Nicole, man, she just went on a spree, just airing out people's business. Um, I think it comes from a place of being rejected by all the guys that she had an interest in. I think she had a genuine interest to try and find a relationship on the show, but she was upset that no one actually, put her up there like that in their top connection and pursued her for long enough or with any serious intent. And that's why I think she's got particular smoke for Devon. I think other than Ed, who was like her 15-year fixation,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she really wanted to get with someone like Devon, but when he had, some indecisiveness about his connections, she didn't like him connecting with the other ladies. She even said it to him on a date. I don't like you talking to other women. She
Yes, she
wanted it
did.
solely, she wanted his attention solely on her, and he didn't give it to her. He preferred Dominique for some reason, who, as we said before, is out of his league. But I think he was just smitten by the way Dominique uh, was giving him that confidence boost, whereas he kind of saw Nicole as like a plain Jane type of girl. Anyway, I think she went scorched earth, as Mr. Jaguar put it, because now she's getting the daily D deliveries from Vince. She finally found someone. Vince needs to be careful because after seeing her crash out like this, man, he needs to make sure that he protects himself. He already
Lord.
doesn't want to claim her in public.
So
He
so
already
you don't so you mean you don't wait, hold on. You mean to tell me you don't feel like Ryan, you don't feel like her and Vince are gonna be eventually getting married after about a year or
nah.
two?
No, 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 no. I think Vince is gonna tiptoe. He's gonna wake up one morning. He's just gonna creep out the bed, put all these clothes, put his shoes on, and tiptoe out the house, block her, and that's done. That's it. He's out. You know. I think he's already having buyer's remorse. He's not claiming her publicly at all. Like, there's no like. Do they look like a couple? No, they don't. Like when she held her hands out to him the other day. Um,
And
you know,
hugged him and stood up and hugged
yeah,
him.
he was like, "Listen, don't get your makeup
Get
on my
off
clothes.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like get off me, like above the rim, you know. Um, so yeah, he just weren't he just ain't feeling that. He just lucky to be knocking some boots, and that's it. That's all Vince wants. And I think what
That's
she's
what it
doing
feels
is
like.
she's adding a little bit more to it to try and romanticize the situation, because I think she genuinely is trying to be picked, trying to be chosen, trying to find a relationship, and that's why she's open to all of the guys to try and find that connection. It's just that none of them saw her as like their number one, so it just caused a meltdown for her, man. Rejection is not easy for some women. Like, you know, a lot of women can't handle rejection. They can handle rejecting the guy. They can't handle when a guy that they like doesn't like them.
Rejects
That's what
them.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
She
yeah,
wasn't
you're right.
she wasn't
Like,
rejected harshly. None of the guys rejected her harshly. But I think it's just the fact that she didn't come away with any of the guys that she was attracted to. Now she's gone into meltdown, and she thinks that being with Vince, she's finally got someone that's gonna take her seriously. I don't think he is though.
he doesn't though, yeah. And Ryan, what do you think? Do you feel like that? What was going on with Nicole this whole reunion? Because she's just spilling all the tea on everybody. And while I don't disagree that things need to be aired out, the way she came at Divine about his politics and whether she feels like he's this all lives matter person. I had a conversation with a person on this panel offline, and I was telling them that in Ann Arbor, uh, there are a number of black men that once they get to Ann Arbor, they get to University of Michigan, they do tend to go look the other way. They look at, the
I went
Caucasian
to University of Michigan.
women.
Don't do that.
I gotta say this now. I know that's your experience, but hey, I got friends that sit on the board with the alumni committee, and I'm just telling you, this is a thing that you know this too. There are a number of black men that look for women other than other black women. They look for Caucasian women, Latino women, Indian women, all different cultures except for their own black sisters. That is a thing. So now you speak on it.
Well, yeah, I don't know anything about that. I mean, I know at University of Michigan, the black people were kind of a small minority. We kind of all knew each other. Dominique went there. uh,
Yes.
so, but yeah, this situation, this is more about Nicole. I don't think Nicole got unhinged or did anything. She didn't really go after Ed like that. And she didn't really go after Vince. She didn't want to tell Vince's story. She kind of had to. Tommy kind of ripped it out of her, but she was trying not to. She went off on Devon because she had no respect for Devon, which most of the girls on the panel didn't have a lot of respect for him because he fakes the funk. You trying to fake cool, you trying to fake swag. You went after Dominique for the same reason Bella went after her, not because you liked her, because she was the it girl and you thought it was gonna make you look more powerful on the show. You were your whole scenario, this whole thing has been fake. Even when you was on the video giving yourself your compliments. Oh
Mm,
yeah, well I know I always look good when I come. You know, I ain't talking like that. You think
I was fly,
AJ
yeah.
from my season would say something like that? You think John Pierre from Miami? You think the real big boys giving themselves compliments on their looks on camera?
Right.
No, you doing that because you have that like Mercedes reads you like a book. You got validation issues. You got problems. We still don't know if you 100% like women because you went with Dom because of who she was on the set, and you said you wanted to be friends with Nicole and none of these other girls you were trying to get these connections.
Ron? Hello? Hello? Ron, are you still there?
Man, he might have got a call or something.
Okay. All right. So we'll come back to what Ron was saying about
Hello,
Devon.
you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know if you got a call came through on your phone, but go ahead. Tell us what you were saying about Devon because the last part we missed.
Yeah, so I'm saying like the ex that he had was out of his league, right? We saw that. That's why when Mercedes said in your past relationships you were getting the validation, so you were looking for it on here. And you can't make him cool like he wants to be. He wants to be Darius. He wants to be Bello. He's not gonna ever be that. You can't teach that. And he just has to be himself and be okay with being himself in order to do it. But him trying to date.
Okay, Ron, we're still having some issues. JR, anything else you want to say about Devon?
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I think Devon made the wrong. Like you can't help who you're attracted to, but Dominique just wasn't the right fit for him. I don't see him going out and necessarily doing what she thought Bello could do. So Nicole would have been more his speed, but yeah, he just wasn't feeling her. And the way that she's reacted to it, he dodged the bullet. He really did. He's lucky he didn't sleep with her. Lucky he didn't progress with her because it would have been worse. She I think what she did is she tried to make him feel as low as how she felt when she came away empty-handed and being sent home. And yeah, so
Like,
that's
where was
where
the can I ask you
yeah,
something, JR?
yeah, go
Where do
ahead.
you feel? Where do you feel like the energy was the same energy with Vince? Because Vince basically to me was the one who did her the worst. She's having this side fling with him, even though she realizes that the season isn't over. And according to her, he told her that he didn't pick Donna when we know that he did. But where's all this energy? She could have put some of this energy into Vince, then I would not have had as big a problem with her this season. But she chose to put it all onto Devon when she's saying that, also she tells us this episode that she did not, there was nothing romantic between them.
No,
She was an
she's not
easy
going to put it
target.
on Vince because Vince is giving her the package. Vince is giving her the validation of coming away with something, coming away from this show with a relationship or a situationship of some kind. But there ain't no love there. They're definitely not. Vince chose Donna. That didn't work because she found out that he was still in communication with Lauren, and that's because Lauren told her. So she finished that. He was hanging out with Lauren, but there was no physical, romantic, sexual connection between them at all. And a kiss on the cheek on the show is all he managed to get from Lauren. So there's nothing there. And then Nicole was just someone who was searching for anybody from the show that she thought could have a relationship with her. And Vince decided, okay, well, let me see if I can play the long game with her like he did with Donna. Let's just see how it's going to go. I'm not promising a family. I'm not going to change my timeline. Let's just see how it's going to go. And Nicole said, fine, let's do it. And all the ladies knew that Vince was seeing other people. They were quite cool with him dating other people. They just didn't know that he was still dating cast members. Right. So that's the only thing. Right. But Nicole doesn't care about that. Nicole doesn't care about none of that. She hasn't raised it. She had the chance to give him smoke. She didn't want to because, like I said, she wants to make sure she still keeps him around. She knows that if she goes off on Vince,
It's over.
now that they've slept together and spent some time together, then she's gonna be alone again, and she's doesn't want
back
that.
To nobody. Okay.
Back to square one.
It was a play. I didn't realize it was a play.
And he was an easy target. Like I said, when you see
Vince,
Bello
Vince
not going,
Vince let it be known, and the ladies let it be known they don't need to be exclusive, and
Right,
he capitalized on that.
But if you look at it, right, at the end of the day, it's basically three people. So Donna was the main, Lauren was essentially the side chick, and Nicole was the sneaky link.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason Nicole did it at that specific time
Mm.
was because, as you said, she didn't know what was happening after the show ended. So on the reunion, in real time, she found out that Donna, who's supposed to be the main,
Mm-hmm.
is no longer with him because Tommy said, "How are you all doing?" And Donna said, "You all who?" So that
Mm.
says they're not together.
Yeah.
Lauren said, he never came around me. I never kissed him. He never smutted or anything like that. So Nicole says, oh, I don't have to be the sneaky link anymore. I can now
Mm-hmm.
be the main.
Yep.
And that's why she says,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Mr. Jaguar.
right.
Okay.
So that's why she sat down on the couch right in
Mm-hmm.
front of Donna and put out her hands and said, come here, come here, come here. You know, just let me know. Just let me know. I don't care about anything else. Just let me know. If you saw Donna's face, Donna had the face of somebody, of a woman who was like, she's married to a man and she just found out who the mistress is. And like, the mistress is talking to the person right in front of her. She's like, I can't believe this happened.
Mm.
And then you saw her face just change to disbelief to disgust, and then she walked off. But
Mm.
there was a it was a play from Nicole. She was, as I said, she's
Mm-hmm.
unhinged, and because everything was happening on the side, and as soon as Donna said, "You all who?" She said, "Okay, Donna's not
Yep.
involved."
That's it.
Lauren says he didn't smell it. Okay, so Lauren's not involved either. Boom, I can
Mm-hmm.
make my move now, and that's what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. Excellent points there. Excellent points. Anything else you want to add to this, JR?
Mm. Not much. Everything else has been said. You know, she just unraveled too much. She aired too much of his business, and it seems like it's a very personal attack against him. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's because she felt that there was something there, and it wasn't reciprocated, so she feels hurt.
Yeah. I just want to add this one last part myself. I thought it was interesting how Nicole told on him, Divine, also when she said toward the end, she said of this segment, she said, he didn't like Dominique's values, and he said that Shannon was for the streets. And I think
Yeah.
this was after Dom basically has said that he told us that he didn't like you, or he told me that he didn't like you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
She belongs to the streets.
Yeah. Very petty. So
Miss Pearls belongs to the streets, the RN.
yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So Devon did a live last night or the day before,
Okay.
and he basically spoke about that. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened is him and Shannon were in conversation, and the conversation was getting heated, like in terms of, you know, the temperatures getting turned up, they're feeling each other or whatever. He shared some intimate medical details about himself, and but in the same conversation, she shared that she'd had Smex a week before
Mm.
the show aired or something like that. So in his mind, he's thinking, "Wow, that's pretty recent. That means you're still in touch with some dude that's just not the boots with you." So that's why he was like, "No, no, no, I can't." You know, that didn't sit right with him apparently. But
Uh,
then what she did was she went and shared the private medical information that he shared with her to Mercedes. So on the
oh.
reunion, when Mercedes was reading everybody and she read him for filth type thing, he got the impression that she knew about the personal information he'd shared with Shannon, and therefore he disliked both of them. That's how it
Mm.
kind of went.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Ron, now that we got you back, anything else you want to add to this before we move on?
Like I said, not really. I could believe what JR said that
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes and Shannon was definitely sharing information back and forth because that's her castmate who already been through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been sharing information from day one. You know what I mean? What you think of this? What you think of that? But with that said, you know, Devon's still Devon. You know what I mean? He's the easy target. And like I said, I don't think any of the women were fully filling him. I think he was there for, like Mercedes said, for the validation purposes of the show and things of that nature. I don't think he really even had an interest in Dom from the beginning. I think he just wanted to be seen kissed on camera with the it girl from the
Oh.
season. That's why he went in for the kiss early. You know, too
Mm-hmm.
early. He wanted his moment. He wanted his diva moment, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So
diva moment. Okay. All right. Okay, so we got the whole situation about Vince and Darius. We're talking about now the scene where the men are talking about what's said in the lounge. What Tommy talks about what's said in the men's lounge is supposed to stay in the men's lounge. But Vince says, "Well, we know that that statement for most of the guys is not true." It caused a lot of friction between Vince and Darius. Ron, do you want to speak on this? Why you feel like that there was so much tension between a Vince and a Darius?
Well, first off, they're two different guys.
Mm-hmm.
One, Vince ain't with the Flash. Darius is all Flash. You know what I mean? So they're already gonna have just the decorums about lifestyle and how they run their little stuff and things of that nature. Probably all the way down the line. Second of all, they seem to have been two guys with the most real connections because Bello pretty much only had Dom the whole time. So they already both ex Dom out of their equation of women, and
Right.
everything else was kind of like a competition between them two as being the other top two guys that made it to the bridge. So yeah, now you're competing for the same women. You're giving out information. I think I don't know who is the. We don't know for a fact who said the thing with the Lauren and the B word.
Oh yeah, the tall B. Yeah, we don't. We
Yeah,
don't know that.
but if
Christina.
it was Darius, and I think Vince probably thought it was Darius,
Okay.
he's mad from the beginning because that is a low blow. Like we're just having a complete off camera locker room talk, and just because I said a one word that wasn't even directly attribute to her, I was just calling females a B. I didn't say Lauren is a or anything like that, and you gonna use that information against me in order to get a head start on the women because you feel me as competition. Oh, I'm mad. As a
Right.
castmate, I'm mad. I mean, personally, you know what I mean? So he probably already felt that. So then to get him back, he gonna diss Darius probably to a bunch of women, and they gonna tell him, and he goes back and forth, and then you get that.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for that. Thank you for that. Um, Jr. Any thoughts on the whole Darius Vince act, uh, altercation and why the two of them were the way they were, confrontational with one another?
Yeah, I think there's just a genuine dislike to a degree, different personalities. Vince comes across as more of um, a goofy type of joker type of guy, whereas Darius comes across as more serious, more intentional, but also a player, right? I think Darius is more overt with how he is. He's very flamboyant, in your face, flashy. Vince is
Right.
more behind your back, sneaky. Tell you one thing and do something else type dude. But I think Darius only had Ashley and Ashante's connections, really. Uh, his friendship with Lauren is a professional and business one. That's not a romantic connection. So, yeah, it's just really Ashante and Ashley. Whereas Vince, we know Vince has been in them streets. Vince has been hollering at a lot of girls. Even if there's nothing romantic or anything or any chemistry there, he's still been hollering anyway. And I think that their beef really comes down to Ashley confiding in Vince about what her and Darius were going through. Darius didn't like that. Then this whole thing about what's sharing the information with the people in the lounge. You got the tall B comment, which when Darius explained it, gave it a different context, even though it still wasn't good to use the word. But it made like more of it was made by Christina and whoever trying to gaslight the situation than it actually was. Christina didn't want to share who it was because she's sitting there around all the castmates. So she didn't want to throw anyone under the bus. But I think Darius and Vince just genuinely didn't like each other from the get go. They were probably clashing a few times. Probably a few comments were made throughout the episode, and it just came to a head on the last episode when they flipped out and nearly came to blows.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And Mr. Jaguar, any thoughts about the Darius and the Vince altercation and what was going on with their energy?
Well, as JR said earlier, it's two opposing personalities. There's a proverb that says, "Empty vessels make the most noise." Darius is that kind of guy. He's all flash and not really much substance. And if you notice, when he was trying to tell the one of the major parts of the trailer that we saw was the confrontation that they had when he told Vince, you need to shut your mouth sometimes, blah blah blah. You talk too much. When we got to that part, it was Vince asking a question about Darius, and but if he would do the process over again, blah blah blah. And they got into it, and Vince was trying to say something, and Darius was cutting him off, and Vince was like, "You're not going to disrespect me like that. I'm still talking." And then he was like, "Well, no, you talk too much," and blah blah blah. But at the end, nothing was going to happen because some people were saying, "Oh, it could have come to blows," and Darius put up probably beat up Vince. And people have to remember, Vince is an ex-police officer. He has training. More than likely, he would have mopped Darius if anything happens. And I don't think anything would happen, even though Ashanti said there was no security there. But there's two different types of personalities. Vince is just Vince is more of a reserved stand of business kind of. I said this, and I'm not going back on it. And Darius is more bluster. I need to wear furs to make up for this or whatever, and I have to be flashy and whatnot. Now, I mean, if you inspect it and you just look at the evidence, the show is 20 people, 10 men, 10 women. Darius says this is how we dress in Detroit, but he's the only man who dressed like that. I didn't see anybody else wearing furs, if you noticed.
Not really,
So,
no. Yeah, you're right.
so I mean, that's just his thing, and that's just how he is. And he thought he could probably punk Vince into telling him to shut up. And Vince was like, "You're not doing that. I'm making my point. I'm still talking. You're not going to cut me off." And Vince just keep telling him, Darius was keep saying, "You need to shut up." And Vince was like, "No, you're not stopping me." So that's basically just two clashing personalities. That's all I saw there.
Okay. Okay. Now, but who was it? You guys, one of you guys remind me, who was it that we found out a little bit later on in this episode that the reunion that Vince did spend some money on? Was that Ashley? Was that Ashley that he took shopping?
I think it was Ashley.
Okay, so maybe that factored into the whole reason why Vince and Darius didn't get along besides all the other stuff, because I don't know. In my experience, of course, I'm not a guy, but I observe men. You rarely see two men that kind of match up with each other, height wise, physicality, age, and all this type of stuff. You rarely see two men really talk like they're going to go at it, because typically I feel like men, if they're going to go at it, they're just going to go at it. They don't just build up to it. So there seemed to be some reason, and I'm thinking maybe Vince was jealous of Darius because he had Ashley.
I can't. I don't think so. I mean, because really and truly, as we saw, Vince ended up
What?
having
Well,
a
look
few
at it.
connections. So go ahead,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry, let me just add this. But look at it this way, though, too. So in the show, we see basically who Vince connected with Donna, right? But yet Vince doesn't seem to be very physically into Donna. We never even saw them kiss.
Well, that's true, but remember, as he said, he's a take it slow kind of person. He wants things to develop organically. So he's not he
Mhm.
if you realize with what's his name, Devon. Remember
Mhm.
Devon tried to kiss Dominic early, and how did that turn out?
Well,
Vince
yeah,
is not
because
that
she
kind of guy.
wasn't interested in him.
But
But
that's what I'm saying. Right,
the
but what I'm
difference
saying,
was she
he
wasn't
would make
interested
that move. But that's what I'm
in him.
saying. But Devon would make that move early on. Vince is not that kind of guy. He's laid back, take it slow kind of
Mhm.
person. So I think it's just a personality things that is what I'm saying.
Well, okay, you feel that way, and that's your entitlement. I feel that he really wasn't interested in Donna. He was interested in Ashley. And Ashley was at the time, in the very beginning more interested and connected with Darius. So that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. We don't know. We may never know. But I really don't
Mhm.
feel like he wanted Donna though.
I think
Mm.
Mind
everybody's on the table for him.
everybody, right? Because we find out later he's seen everybody, even though
Yeah,
Lauren said
yeah.
they didn't do anything. Okay, all right, and maybe they didn't. But the point of it is that you know what? He likes chicks. Let's just say that he likes chicks,
He
but
likes women. Yeah.
he likes women. But I don't feel. Thank you for that correction, Ron. But I don't feel like he was particularly sexually, physically, romantically connected with Donna. Plus, he doesn't like to be what's the word? He doesn't like to be committed. He doesn't like to be committed. He doesn't like commitment.
Well, like, as I said, I think it's opposite because remember when he went to the I think it was the Friends episode when she was with the Friends and she was wearing it was like a low cut top, and it was like titties were almost out. He was like, what are you doing here? This and that. He was very excited. You could see, but also, I think it's just you could see that because of people in two separate scenarios, both women who brought him to their friends, both of the friends said in both instances that they liked him and they were rooting for him.
Mhm.
So he could also just be a guy who's not really into physical displays of affection. He may not be a PDA guy. As I said, that's a personality type. That's a trait that
Hmm.
somebody
That's true.
some people are wired certain ways. I also think it was very important in this part two of the reunion
Hmm.
where the Toynbee comment got fleshed out because, as I was saying from the beginning, the way it was said, I realized that he didn't call Lorena Toynbee. He referred to her as one because it was just like a combination of who was the person they were referring to, and he just meant, oh, this person. But it was not direct. It was not a direct connection, and people had to have the emotional intelligence. But I'm glad he was able to get cleared on it. Sure, he shouldn't have said the word. He should have used better vocabulary, but it wasn't like a direct attack against Lauren. And he was man enough to also apologize to her directly about it. So I didn't see why people were still, you know, in the comments over the weeks as weeks went by, still saying, they were beating the dead horse with Colby. He apologized, he moved on, he admitted he should have used better words. But I'm glad he got the context that he didn't directly call it. It was just it was just referring to people as a rebuttal to Bello saying that he could be the only one to date Lauren because she's tall. And he was saying, no, but she's smart, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, da 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 da. You know.
Okay.
So I'm glad that worked out.
Oh, okay. Very good point. Very good point. I see what you're saying. He may be a person that doesn't believe in public displays of affection. That's true. Um, so we move to the scene where we talking about the lady here, Miss Shannon, and her pearls and how she made out this season. Um, when we meet Shannon, she tells us at the beginning of the season that she believes that she's single because a lot of men don't like having a go-getter for their woman. Um, would you agree with that or not, Mr. Jaguar?
Sorry, I got a little bit of breakup there. Could you repeat the last question, please?
Oh, yes. I was asking you, do you agree with Shannon? Because she says that she believes that she's probably still single because a lot of men don't like having a go-getter woman as their lady.
Uh, I can't specifically say that for her, but I would say that based on her, I think her and Donna are basically in the same boat in the sense that
Hmm.
they they gave a lot of their time early on. Donna gave her a lot of time to her career, and Shannon
Okay.
gave a lot of time to her studies. I think, if I remember correctly, she said she spent 14 years studying. And so, acquiring degrees. And she also mentioned on the reunion that she just got her registered nurse midwife's degree or whatever the case is like that. And I think a lot of times with that, those people are not, they haven't dated a lot, so they're not really into it the way that other people who've been dating for a while are going to be. They're a bit on the, I wouldn't say so much awkward, they're just not there like other people are. She's more of a bookworm, really, if you think about it. She studies a lot. So I think with her, she didn't give off the same aura as Ashley or an Ashanti or Lauren, that kind of thing. I don't think
I
there's anything
get
really
you.
wrong with her per se. She just wasn't as exciting as other women. It's the best way I would see it.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Thank you for that. Ron, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like Shannon was overlooked because she's a go-getter, or is she like uh, Mr. Jaguar just explained? Is it because maybe she's more book smart and not as savvy in how to flirt with the men or what have you? What do you think?
Yeah, from a show preference, she's overlooked because she's not great on camera as Dominique. You know what I mean? And Lauren, they can show up better on camera. But yeah, nobody. I think for girlfriend purposes, yeah, nobody cares that she's going to get degrees and stuff like that. She didn't have crazy expectations and stuff like some of these other women had up here. So I think she's
Uh-huh.
easy to date. I think somebody like Steven was kind of the same way. He doesn't super stick out, but he's a solid guy and things of that nature. And then, those two might not be a great link up for television, but it could be a good link out outside of television. You know what I mean? It's just one of those type of things.
Yes. Right. I see your point. I actually kind of like those two together too. He seems like he cares about her feelings, and she may be, now you know what, Mr. Jaguar, to your point, she may be the slow burn. She may be the slow steady person that you were just speaking of when you were talking about the men, but Shannon may be that in the ladies category. What do you think, JR?
Yeah, I think that could easily be a possibility. Um, she's like a bookworm, and that he said someone that obviously focused on her career to some extent, and then probably neglected the dating experiences. She wasn't out there to really meet a lot of guys or whatever, and this was like a golden opportunity to find someone. Um, I think uh, she had some unrealistic expectation when it came to the process of the show, because on the show, the guys are going to be dating multiple ladies. The women are supposed to try and connect with and date multiple guys and then narrow it down. And I don't think she fully understood that, if someone says you're top one, top two, no, I think they said top two, and some said top three and top four.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's where you're naturally going to be. You want it to be someone's number one, though. But were you locked in on anybody? No, you weren't. So I think Steven could have made a good match for her. He definitely showed that he did care about her and there's some potential there.
Mm-hmm.
Devon, I think, is nerdy enough, but obviously he was blinded by the illusion of Dominique.
Dominique, yeah.
Yeah, so Shannon came away kind of empty-handed, and I think Mercedes' advice kept her single anyway. Mercedes chose herself on her
On her
season.
season,
Yeah,
yeah.
she had Mark Anthony there,
Oh.
and Mark Anthony was,
Mark
seemed,
Anthony. Wait a minute. Pause. A moment for Mark Anthony. Whew.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So he seemed like he was a genuine connection for her. He really wanted to take things further off the show, and she decided to choose herself. And I think that's kind of similar advice to what she gave to Shannon. Having had the same experience, she was like, you know what, choose yourself. None of these guys are outright choosing you. But when Mercedes did have a guy that was outright choosing her, she didn't choose him back. So I don't think Shannon would have chosen any of the guys. I think she would have listened to Mercedes anyway, and just decided that none of the guys were up to her standard.
I think she would have chose Steven. The problem is, like I told you, Shannon's not. The show producers do a bad job at this because there are actually more black women that are like Shannon than it is that are like Dom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's women that are a little nerdy and into their studies and things of that nature. But we just, as a show, we haven't tapped into that demographic that watches the show. So like I was telling you at the beginning of the season, I was like, I hope they give the nerdy people a chance this season. We got some good nerd couples. You know what I mean? They can get together.
Yes.
I said we've never done that. We've never had that. Them make it to the end. They always end up getting typecast and
At all.
eliminated in the middle of the road. And I think Steven knew that. Steven was like, I don't hear good things going around. This Shannon girl ain't gonna be around long enough. That's why he pivot a little mid-season
Mm.
to kind of stay on the show longer, not necessarily because he wasn't feeling her or that wasn't his type or wasn't his one. That's why when he was asked on the reunion, he was like, "Oh yeah, 1,000% I would think." You know, like now that all this is over, yeah, this is the one. You know, she's that girl. Just because production didn't see it, we all knew, but it's hard to pick a woman that is not going to be around on the show because you're like, once I pick her, then I'm next. She gets eliminated.
Mm. A lot of the ladies in the chat are saying something very interesting. Um, Shannon's friend said that Steven was not a good connection, but that was Mercedes, by the way, who's sitting next to her in this clip. Yeah, but to was it your point, JR? That the thing of it is sometimes your single friends will keep you single.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really know if that was the right thing. What do you think? Do you think that women should listen to other women? And then Miss Iffy even adds that Shannon needs to not take advice from her female friends unless she wants to be single for life. And there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. You will have single girlfriends because either they don't know how to date well themselves, or two, because they are like somewhat semi jealous, like that passive aggressive jealousy type of thing. So what do you think? What do you think about that?
Or some of the friends are dependent on that friendship, so they don't want that friendship to end. So they fear that it's going to end if she gets into a relationship, and then yeah. So I think what it also comes down to is none of the guys that were a connection for Shannon were flamboyant, spectacular in Mercedes' opinion, or even in Shannon's opinion. These are, Steven, who was it? Devon, and who else was it on their date? Oh, and Darius. Darius was the third one.
Darius was a connection for a hot second until he had that stripper girlfriend.
And when you listen to the feedback that Mercedes gave, she didn't necessarily cut down. She didn't say anything bad about Darius, actually. I think she just said something along the.
No, she lit him up.
She pointed out that her girl had to put up with the baby mamas and a whole lot of different things that they didn't have to deal with her.
Oh
so
yes. She did. You're right.
That was her way.
And then she said that he talks about what he wants, but he doesn't know how to execute it, which is
right.
That was cold blooded.
That was it. That was it. Yeah, but none of the guys were. Mercedes couldn't see it for none of the guys. Shannon didn't feel it. She couldn't see it either. So yeah, you go away empty-handed now, man. And I think Steven would have been a good fit, but at the same time, Steven couldn't make his mind up. He wasn't completely sold on her until she got eliminated. I think that's when he figured out, like, wow, something could have really happened. But I'm surprised they haven't reached out since the reunion and tried to rekindle something. Even though he says he's open to it, really and truly, the way that Vince has been moving and Lauren's been moving, it's you got these people's phone number. You could easily have taken some time out to check in and go on some dates and things before the reunion even came about. But they chose not to do that. So I don't think there's any genuine connections there for Shannon.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know. Steven, who grew up in Flint and says he wants to have at least one child, he said that when asked by Tommy, that he wished he had put more time and effort into Shannon. And when asked again, well, can you guys do something about that? And she said, well, I need somebody who's going to be out loud about it. And he said, yeah, he would be out loud about it. So it sounds as if maybe they may give it a second chance. I don't know.
Yeah, but he has to be able to apply that pressure, and he don't seem like a pressure guy.
No.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. He's a kind of laid back guy, and I think that's the problem. He was too laid back. He wasn't assertive enough. But I will say though, of all the women who got eliminated, he's the only person who ran after her when she got eliminated. She's the only woman who had somebody run after
Yeah.
to check on her and make sure she's okay. So I think they could be cool, but I don't know. He probably just have to get a little bit more assertive. But he's a cool dude. I don't see anything wrong with him for her. And it could work out. I really think it could work out.
Also, I did hear that the reason why Stephen was so laid back is he'd actually come out of a relationship quite
Oh.
relatively close to when the show was being filmed. So he was single, but he was fresh out of a relationship, and I don't think the relationship ended well. So
So he still was feeling some
yeah,
pain.
exactly. So he wasn't in a space to go and date multiple girls at one time, on top of what he was going through. So
Mm.
And that happens. Sometimes some guys that get out of bad relationship right before the show, they're on the show the kind of impress the ex, like, oh, see me dating, you know what I mean? They're thinking about the ex while they're on the show, showing off to her. This has happened in a couple of, I'm not gonna give no names, but it happened in a couple of equations in season.
Yeah.
Where he where I'm listening to guys going, yeah, when that ex see me on the show, seeing me dating all these women, she gonna regret leaving me. You know what I mean? I'm like, what does she got to do with?
Oh, so they're still trying to get back with that ex. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, in the back of their head, they use the show kind of a pivot to kind of say, okay, yeah, haha, ex, I'm on TV now. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, let me, you're gonna regret leaving me for such as, you know what I mean, all that type of stuff. But it does happen.
Okay.
And to your Mercedes thing, that I don't think she's keeping her single. All your best girlfriend gonna want to sees the best in you. So when she sees you with 2 or 3 degrees and stuff, she's gonna think, oh no, girl, you need to be with a doctor. You need to be with Dr. Johnson.
Right. And she's a nurse, but that's to my point though. That could be keeping the girlfriend single, because even if she's not jealous per se, maybe she's really trying to be helpful. But who's to say the doctor wants to date the nurse or wants to marry the nurse? Maybe
it's true, but she's supposed to still be your best friend, your number one fan. She's supposed to hype you up to the next hemisphere. It's your discernment as a woman to say, yeah, nah, them doctors ain't feeling me like that. But it's her job to put, you know what I mean, to say, these guys ain't for my girl, my bestie. Darius? Oh no! What kind of friend would I be to tell her that this is the best she could do? Right?
Well, you know what? Because like you said, she chose herself at her season. So I don't know. It's a little iffy to me though. Like,
I mean, I heard she's an Aries. She's a very direct person. She seems highly intelligent. I mean, come on. We know Mike Anthony had women. Come on, I was up in Canada and some random women was talking about Mike. They know Mike Anthony. We over here video chatting him from Toronto, from Montreal. I'm like, dude, you're internationally getting it.
Well, the man is fine. So
no. He that guy. He's that guy. He won the one. He ain't faking it like it ain't a fake like Devon. He the real deal.
Yeah, and he speaks French too. So we.
Yeah, so if you're Mercedes, you probably like, yeah, nah, I ain't about to tie myself up with you know what I mean? You're like, you want to stay off the story. So she probably did it, smartly made a correct decision on that.
Yeah. Okay. So we slide on over to as we get ready to wind this up, we slide over to the whole Darius and Ashley relationship. We find out that Darius set up a date, a very nice date. They went to dinner, and while they were at dinner, Darius' phone rang, and it was Lauren. And Ashley had just had enough. She's like, I'm not doing this no more. You are not into me. I don't know why Lauren is calling you, and so forth and so on. And I was just so confused. Could you explain to me, in your opinion, what you got out of what she was saying, JR? Because I was lost. I was so lost.
So she said that it's just a few things that they clashed on. So what I took from it, just from the whole season, is there's an age gap there. There's the word submission is triggering for her, and what it pertains to, in her opinion. So they clashed there because he is like, man, if what kind of relationship do you have if you're not going to submit? And he actually used the words, what 40-year-old will say some dumb ish like that? She's not 40, she's in her 30s. He's
Right.
40. So she, that gap played a little role in what they expected the relationship to be like. But I think he did choose her from early on as his number one. He was a bit conflicted because when they got into problems, he then started to look towards Ashanti. But if those little clashes didn't come up, I think he would have stayed focused on Ashley. He gave her the furs, made her drive the car when her car was out of service. He did all these little things for her, took her out to dinner and all that. But Darius does come with a lot of stuff. You've seen his ex, whatever she was, come out and talk about it. He talked about previously being with a stripper in his 20s. Talked about how he has 4 children and whatnot. So, it's not going to be someone who's on her same stage of life and timeline.
Right.
But I think she enjoyed the pleasantries, enjoyed the gifts, enjoyed the dates. But that's as far as it went. And I think when Lauren called him, that was the final straw, because she was like, "Oh, and now you messing around? You're a player with Lauren now, and this, that, the other." No, Lauren was just a business relationship. I think his fashion and what she does in terms of promotion and businesses and stuff, they've
Right.
had a relationship for years where he's just come to events and things like that. And that's why they never dated on the show, because they've got that prior history. They never thought each other was a romantic connection at all. But
I
I
wish
think,
we had known all of this during the show, but go ahead.
yeah, but Ashley just decided to choose herself then, because she was just like, you know what? He's too friendly with women. Like, she wants him to start shutting down women. Even though Lauren's not a romantic connection, she expected him to pick up the phone and say, "Listen, I'm with my girl. Can you just not call me right now?" And he didn't do that. And she was like, "Nah, I'm out." So yeah,
Okay.
she just used it as a reason to end things. But it was probably a cumulative effect. There's a couple of instances where they
Okay.
just weren't
I
aligning.
think that might be. Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. I think I agree. I agree with you. And I was just going to say too, because you kind of went out for a couple of times, a couple of seconds, and I think that might be the internet connection here on my side. So just so
Mm.
you know, Ron, I want to get your thoughts on this before we lose you completely, as well as about your cousin too. But go ahead. What did you think about um Ashley and her reasoning that because Lauren called during dinner, that was the reason why she didn't want to be bothered with Darius. And she did say though too that also that he kept focusing on the show, he kept focusing on his latest promotions and not really on the relationship. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Lauren thing was a cop out. I think all the women knew Lauren was every season got the business lady who sets up all our reunion parties and stuff. Every big reunion party that's been set up after has been Lauren's situation. So yeah, she probably was contacting all the men on some business things so she could, kind of use the show to kind of point people in different directions and things of that nature. So
Okay.
the women were probably accustomed to her calling all the guys and stuff and trying to, see what's going on and see, brainstorm some ideas and see what they can do to kind of take the 15 minutes of fame and turn it into 20.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
her on that, she's always been a little skeptical of Darius. Like I said, where
Oh.
Nicole would give Vince that time that said is needed,
Hmm.
Darius ain't getting 30 seconds from Ashley because she's never been comfortable. He's like, she's probably like, you're not consistent. You're, you know what I mean? You talk a good game, but almost a little too good of a game. Uh,
Hmm.
you are into the show. You are into you are using this as a platform. You're not even hiding that. So, And
Which
Ashley's
one?
really not.
You're saying Darius is using it as a platform?
Oh yeah, definitely using the show as a platform. He's not even hiding that. Like that,
Okay.
he's here for a reason.
Okay, gotcha.
He wants to, he into the acting art. He wants to turn this into something. His character, things of that nature. He's very, and he's not hiding that. The women know that and things of that too. And somebody like Ashley is a little quieter, a little younger, who's not really trying to do anything with Ready to Love after this in that realm. Is looking at it like, what are you here for? Are you using me? Are you really here for me? Are you, this is too much. And so she's never bought in. And then when a woman's never bought in, any little thing is going to trigger her to say, you know what I mean? It's okay for you to take me on a dinner date with some free chicken and whatever, but I ain't putting my all into you or do anything like that until I see something totally different that Darius wasn't going to be able to give her. And yeah, so she was already 1 foot in, 1 foot out. She was 1 foot, even on the show, she was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He probably had to talk her into going to the bridge for her because Darius needed the show. So he's like, "Yo, baby, you messing up my image.
Yeah,
I gotta walk on that bridge with the big boy fur I was saving for the very end." And you say yes, and then because couples they go further after the show when they together, and they got, what I mean. He's giving her the spiel and stuff like that, and she gets never bought in. And she's not the one, what I mean. She ain't the partner for that. And he's trying to keep it stuff going after it, and she's just never bought in. So like, yeah, it was too cost for her to leave.
Right. You know what? And can I say this though too? I feel like we saw where when she met his sister, we saw where whatever argument they had, and the fact that he told her that she was being childish, and that's some whatever he said, a 40-year-old woman wouldn't say that type of thing. But she's not, as JR pointed out, she's not 40 years old yet. She's far from it. She's a good decade younger than him. And the way he talked to her, and the fact that she had to go to Vince to tell Vince these things, and that she felt she was so shaken up, I feel like he really hurt her. And I think at that point, someone coming out of the kind of relationships, we never got all the tea on what her past relationships were like, but I, as a woman, feel like they were somewhat verbally abusive, and it could have been more. So for him to be like that with her, and you've been, as a woman, if you dealt with that before, that's a big, huge red flag for him to be cursing her out and saying, well, you're childish and da 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 da. You're trying to change me. I'm 10 years younger than you. If you can't accept that, then why are you here, dude? Like that's how I kind of take that too.
Right, and that's when she should have left the relationship. Like, if she felt that way, that's when you get out of it. You feel like he's going to be abusive, use coercive control, manipulate, anything like that. That's when you leave. I know it's easier said than done, but you cut it off at that point. And she didn't have to go to Vince. She chose to go to Vince. And she'd probably known that they've been clashing at various points throughout the season. So for her to choose Vince to go and cry on his shoulder, knowing that Darius and Vince have some contention, I think that was quite deliberate too. So
you don't go to the enemy, you go to the friend. So like if somebody wanted some information on somebody they dated,
exactly. Like
they're gonna go to me because I'm friends with the guy. They're not gonna go to the guy I'm friends
exactly. Like out of all the guys, right? Vince is not gonna be giving her the wise counsel. Probably maybe a Bello, or maybe even a Steven, or maybe even a Devon. But to go to Vince, who's the direct, challenger to your man, that's not cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a play as well.
Jaguar, Mr. Jaguar.
No, I'm just saying that was also a play. The same way how Nicole had a play, that was also a play. As I said, you don't go to the enemy. I mean, and she went straight to the opposites. Like basically, Vince was put in a position where, what's going on here, bro? I thought this was your girl. Why is your girl coming to me to take up tripping sprees? I thought you were like that. So it was like a one-up kind of thing for both of them. So,
And then we have Lauren here because Lauren wants us to know. She came in the confessional booth behind the scenes saying that she had absolutely nothing to do with the Ashley and Darius situation. So there. She said, "I've never dated Vince. Oops, I meant to say Darius." That's what she said.
Mhm.
So don't bring my name up in y'all business. I got nothing to do with it. What did you think about that, Jr.?
Well, Lauren, man, she just, like I said at the beginning, she just put herself into too many situations. I can see why. She's already doing television and other ventures in entertainment, but to me, it looks like she's trying to launch this podcast that she does into the stratosphere, capitalize on the 15 minutes of fame, get the different castmates to appear on the show because they already have one called T and the D, where but
Mm.
she's got her own separate podcast, and I
Ah,
think she's trying to get build relations so that these different castmates can appear on the podcast as well. Um, but she was mentioned far too many times. Like every single connection, Lauren's name was mentioned, and that's why I think there is like maybe four or five, maybe even six cast members who have banded against her and don't really like her like that, which is
mhm.
unfortunate. But I think the pretty privilege only lasts for so long.
Right.
Once you see her, her physical appearance, that's one thing. But when you get to know her, I think her personality just put a lot of people at odds with her.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got some thoughts about Lauren, and I don't know. I can't even really share them. It just feels like, but I'll just share this little tidbit. It just feels like I don't know her. Don't know her from a can of paint. She's very beautiful. She's very charming. She's very articulate, but it feels like Lauren is not a girl's girl. It feels like she's very male adjacent, and it's very important to her to be homie friends with the guys, all of the guys, and
Or
yet and
still your
not
man.
not yeah, that part possibly. It doesn't feel good as a woman. Like she's not what we've seen of her from this edited show. It doesn't feel like she would be the kind of woman I would want to be uh my girlfriend. It just doesn't. Now maybe the show made her look messy on purpose. It's the editing. Very well could be. Very well could be, but just popping up all over the place. And then even the first episode of the reunion, the first part, the fact that she went to the coffee shop to talk to
Donna.
Donna about Vince, like what?
When
For
when
what?
they ain't even doing anything.
Exactly. That's the point. But she knew it would be enough. She knew. I believe she knew it would be enough that Donna would be insecure enough that that would make her say, "Okay, I'm done." Which turns out maybe to be a good thing because he actually was doing something with Nicole. So
There wasn't an overlap. But
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. She's messy. She wanted to divert attention away from whoever has a number one connection and see if she can overtake them. She could replace them and become the number one. Um, she she openly admitted that she was not putting herself out there to meet these guys. She's also said, she wouldn't give these guys the time of day usually. So, and last night, for example, when Bella was talking, man, she was going off in them comments.
Oh,
She not,
really?
yeah, she not interested in none of these guys. It was purely a sport. It's purely the competitive side of
It's
her.
competitive, right? And you know
Yeah,
what I was gonna say too? Her Vince and Lauren are two peas in a pot. They are both very competitive. They are both very argumentative. Got to clarify. Got to clarify. I'm a right
yeah.
thinker. I'm a right thinker. I'm always right. They belong together for real.
Oh man, it would never work. It would never
I
work.
know, but you know what?
But it would. But I can see why you say that though. You
It
know,
would be a reflection. They would see themselves in each other. If they would really only look and spend time, they would see themselves in each other because they're both the same personality,
and you know what? Lauren made a
in my
big thing
opinion.
about height before, didn't she? At the beginning, she said, "You know what? You have to be a certain height and blah 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 blah." And that's why
Yep.
the comment was made to Vince. Oh, um, you know, you're the only one that can date her because you're the tallest one here. And that's when he said the B word. He's like, "What? Just because she a tall B? That's why I'm the only guy eligible?" Okay.
Yeah. And she
You
wanted to
know?
make, she worked hard to make that, but he also said I was beautiful. I is
Yeah,
smart. I is intelligent. I is, girl,
yeah,
bye. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, Lauren. Shut up. And that's my daughter's name. Shut up.
yeah.
But,
Like
but go ahead.
the
Go ahead.
the moment any of these guys locked in on someone, that's when she made a play for them.
Yeah.
Like at the retreat, she said, "You know what, Bello? If you move to Dominique, if you spend a night with Dominique in the same room, we're done. There was nothing there anyway. There was nothing there.
I She says it. She says it. I've seen it all over the comment section in her podcast or whatever. She says it has nothing to do with any of that, but I have a hard time believing that her and Nicole didn't have a hard time not being selected and making it to the end on this show, on this edited TV show of competition. I really have a hard time believing that, especially with Lauren.
Mm,
But we're gonna wrap things up. We know that Tommy asked about connections, Christina, and old Xavier with the pea head. He reminds me of a old boyfriend of mine with that pea head. But she says that, well, he invited her to his company's Halloween party, and if he invites her, she may go again. But newsflash, Christina, he's already got a girlfriend, so never mind all that. I want to get especially Ron to come in here and talk about, at the end we know that they had the memorial uh, put up for your cousin, and if you want to say a few words before we close out, I would love it. Love to hear what you would have to say.
Like I said, I saw the memorial, kind of give it up on the credits. I know some people reached out and said they should have did more or this and that, but you gotta understand this is taped as a live show. It's supposed to look like a live show, feel like a live show.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we know it's not, 70% of the audience don't know. They think that as soon as the last episode got done, they're now about to show the reunion and everybody got together and they're back into the studios and there's an audience watching the live show and this is a live show taping. So it's not like they could have just had Tommy come back on and do a memorial. You know what I mean? Instead, because he's alive at the time of this supposed to be live show reunion, and it's already taped, so it's hard to add anything to it. Or else you're just gonna do flash it into Tommy in a whole different outfit or something like that. Now saying some words in memory of our castmate. So yeah, so they had to sneak something in. They did sneak the in memory too in the credits, and like I said, I thought it was nice. And like I said, I had some people say, "Oh, he didn't have a lot of film on him anyway to do this and that." Like we don't. And when it comes to castmates, and I'll tell you how castmates feel. We don't
Yeah.
care if you got eliminated 1 or you got eliminated 10. It's all the same to us. You're a cast. A castmate's a castmate. We
Yeah.
all went through the same things. That's just how we feel and believe, and all we that's anonymous. Now, some people that got eliminated first don't really hang with any castmates. They went off Nomad and things of that nature, but that was 100% on them. If they, if you want to be like Fernando, who is very beloved and very hangs out with the castmates in DC every single day and the things of that nature, and he was the first one eliminated, you could have been that. Uh, Ida, who was our first woman eliminated our season, we beloved. You know what I mean? You could have been with your cast. You decided not to. That's on you. But the fact that first mate, we treat everybody similar because we all went through similar experiences.
Right, right. That's what I think too. And thank you, Miss Wilson, for the condolences to Ron and his family. I felt that same way too, because when you told me, it kind of hurt my heart to hear that. But when when I saw this episode and when I saw the memorial placard, it really touched my heart. My eyes got full of water because I was waiting. I was waiting and I waited every episode. I don't know like what I thought. Maybe the first one, what would be appropriate. I couldn't really think of what they should do, but I think you're right. They did the right thing by putting the memorial information out there. They did it for the reunion, and like you said, this had already been taped when the tragedy happened with your cousin. I'm so glad that Ready to Love and Will Packard and his production company um, had the foresight to do that before the show aired. I mean, I'm really thankful. I'm really, really.
And I would expect things that we are a family. For like I said, I tell everybody to this day, Ready to Love is my fraternity
Yeah.
sorority. It just is what it is. Like I mean, even to even the people in this cast, I met, I was gonna go down on Friday to the reunion party thing. I had a flight and I could have called everything. I looked at the degrees in Detroit. It said 8, and I looked at Houston. It said 78, and I said, "Who's gonna
You
leave
know
70,
what? Shut your
78 weather to
big
go down to 8 degree
mouth.
weather on purpose?" So I ain't gonna do that on purpose. But I've had castmates already reach out and stuff, say, "Hey, heard you was cool," things of that nature. And yeah, it's like I said, we're gonna bring them to the forefront and invite some of them down to Houston and vice versa. And then yeah, it's always our trauma filled fraternity sorority. And like I said, and production knows that. They know that we all talk and hang out and in different seasons and vice versa. And you can go if a castmate came down there and said hi to another castmate. Hey man, I'm in Houston. I don't know you. I saw you on TV, but I was on the same show as you. Can you show me around or certain, anything that's going down? Every single one of my castmates down the line would have been like, I got you.
Oh yeah.
I don't care if it's somebody they knew or saw on TV, never saw them on there. Gets, hey, you was on Ready to Love, you was on what season? And you coming down to Houston, we got you.
All right.
And so, yeah, it is a family type of affair and stuff. And Will Packer and them know that. So, yeah, I didn't think they weren't going to acknowledge a fallen family member.
Yeah. I think that was so important that they did that. And it shows, like you said, that this Ready to Love 11 seasons later, this is your fraternity. And I know people have talked to me. You have hosted so many people in your home, so many people over in Houston. You've been around the country to visit the different cities and the different members, whether it's in Dallas or whether it's in DC. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody may not end up married or uh, stay in a couple, but the bonds that you make are the bonds that you make, and you create them and you can nurture them, and some of them could be for a lifetime. Hey there, stay tuned. Good to
And
see you.
I think they will. Like a lot of them will. Like I said, it's a family thing. We don't, and like I said, let's answer the elephant in the room. We don't have the best relationship track room. We just lost Clifton and Joy
Yep.
to the
Uh-huh.
and I met both of them, and I
Mhm.
I love them as a couple.
Yeah, I'm
Clifton my
surprised.
boy, and she's real cool, and like what I mean. So I don't know the reasoning and things of that nature. I
You
do
don't.
know, what I mean, like
Hmm.
she travels a lot with the singing and things of that nature, so not around much. And then you're leaving a guy like Clifton with a
Clifton.
lot of swag
Carmen with her
in
old
the
blue
chocolate
eyes.
city.
Yeah, and Carmen and her old blue eyes and that beard oil that she was rubbing all over his beard.
Yeah, you got a guy good size, good height, a lot of swag around there to be left alone for a long period of time. You're going to be strong so long.
Guys, be sure you have hit that like button. Be sure you have subscribed to the channel. Follow us, follow all of us on our social medias. I want to thank my panel here. I want to thank my co-host. I want to thank Ron is our featured guest here that we've been talking to, but also Mr. Jaguar, and of course, never, never, never can do this without wonderful JRX TV, who is what is it, JR? Tell me the new name of your channel now.
Life is reality.
Life is reality. I always want to say reality is life, but life is reality, guys. So check him out over there. Follow him on IG as well as I am Ron Freeman on
Instagram.
IG on Instagram. Yes, and Mr. Jaguar, did you want to give the people your? You can put it in the chat if you like your IG handle if you want them to follow you or no.
Oh, sure, no problem. It's on IG. It's Trini Staple, TRINI_STAPLE,
Hmm.
and
Did you
the
type it in?
YouTube is like,
Do me a
sure,
favor and
I'll
type
type
it
it
into the chat too.
Sydney
Thank
Staple.
you.
in. All right, no problem.
Yes, Trini Staples. So, guys, I hope you have enjoyed. This is the last episode of the Detroit Ready to Love season. I've enjoyed it. I will say, as a native Detroiter who still lives in Detroit, I feel like this cast did our city proud. It was a nice mixture of different elements, from nerdy to professional to fur wearing people. It was very exciting. I do love that they did the Detroit Hustle. I think, Mr. Jaguar, if you could mute your mic for a second. Um, that is awesome. And guys, I want to remind you that it's my birthday month. So be sure you do something nice, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you in the next video, guys. We're out. Enjoy your Super Bowl.